it is now time to welcome our guest of this panel. So please welcome Natalie Denk from League of Girls, which is a brand of pick-up pipe. Big round of applause. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I think I'll just slide this one a bit more over because it's a bit cozier, yeah? So let's do it. Sorry, yeah. We can handle heavy furniture. See, teamwork. Teamwork is key. And of course, as said, our international guest, please put your hands together for Rachel Quirico, better known as Seltzer. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us today. And we do have a fourth member of this panel, but she is sadly currently stuck in the traffic jam. I mean, people from Berlin or from bigger cities know the struggle, and the cabby can't decide where to go, it seems. I'm getting a live update via WhatsApp. She's like, okay, he's taking a different route. He's adding 10 minutes on our fare. I'm like, that's a way of making money. But yeah, she will join us later on. Ladies, thank you so much for being here and for sharing your expertise and your views on this topic. I'm really excited. And I would say, let's jump straight in. And maybe, Natalie, you can start by introducing yourself. What do you do and what is your project, League of Girls?
So, yes, I'm working on a project. It's called League of Girls. It's a project from Pick-up Pipe. That's a Viennese company. And it got funded by NetIdee. That's an Austrian funding agency for innovative internet projects. So we were very happy and lucky that we got the funding to raise that program. We started 1.5 years ago. And we developed a platform. You can go to leagueofgirls.com with minuses in between. And everybody can sign up, also men, by the way. And we want to promote women in e-sport. We want to encourage female players to join e-sport. And we also want to make them visible, because that's often a point. And we want to foster networking within the community. So that's the League of Girls project. I think we can talk more about that. And my main profession is I'm a game researcher. I'm working at the Center for Applied Game Studies in Krems. That's in Austria, by the way. And I'm into game-based learning, educational game design. We also have courses where we have, for instance, game studies where e-sport is also a part of it. That's my background. So basically a media educator and also, of course, a video game enthusiast and player.
That's awesome. And Rachel, we had the chance to speak yesterday already in a very interesting panel during, interview. It was a fireside interview. I love the name. It sounds so cozy. It was indeed. And during WOMENIZE, and maybe for the few people out there that don't know who you are, could you please quickly introduce yourself?
Sure. No expectations. I don't know if you guys know who I am, but what I do is I host esports events. So for the past, 10, 11 years, my job has been to be the announcer. I welcome everybody to the show. I tell you who the sponsors are. I tell you the schedule for the day. I interview the players. I take you around the venue. And that's a role that's kind of evolved over the last couple years in esports, especially with the dawning of live streaming. I also work for an agency that represents a lot of the top talent in esports. So if you don't recognize me and you've been watching a lot of games, you probably recognize some of my peers at CSA. But we actually have an agency that employs mostly women right now, and they're making a lot of excellent moves in the esports space. So it's been very exciting these last couple of years.
All right, thank you so much. And it seems like that our last participant of this panel has made her way to the Kulturfabrik. Thank you so much for joining us here at the German Esports Summit. Dona, Spock, Muslio. Hi. Dona, here's a microphone. And Dona, we're just introducing ourselves, so maybe you can just continue.
Okay. Hi guys, I'm Dona. Yeah, most people know me as Dona Spock. most of the time I do Counter-Strike videos and streams, so I'm a content creator for Counter-Strike, German most of the time, but yeah, of course I play also other games, like Apex, for example. I started to get addicted.
That's okay.
It's a great game. Yeah, that's actually what I was doing for the last years. Before I started streaming and doing YouTube videos, I studied computer science with games engineering. So actually, my first thought was, I think I want to create own games, and I was always interested in also the technical kind of stuff, and so I started to study it, and it was kind of cool, and we did some simple games, like I remember the first project we had was something like Portal, but yeah, in our own way, and it was really cool, and it was, I was like, okay, it's cool and it's fun, but it was still not the thing I wanted to do for a long time, so I was thinking about what could I do else, and when I was studying, I also was streaming at the same time, and so I just tried it out, and I tried to do just this and what I just wanted to do, and so I'm doing this for a few years, and
you also recently started hosting.
Yeah, that's what I just wanted to say.
Yeah,
you're right, Melly. A few months ago, I started also hosting. Esports hosts actually focus on Counter-Strike, but we will see what the future will bring. So, yeah, I think that's enough.
That's enough of us, exactly. And yes, Natalie, you already said League of Girls. You already introduced the topic a bit, but what is your main goal? What do you want to achieve with that platform?
Our main goal is to have a more inclusive e-sport environment, of course, and we want to make it totally normal, and it shouldn't matter if you're a woman, if you're a man in e-sport, and of course for that we need more women in e-sport, and our main goal is to make e-sport more diverse, and so it's also about diversity, not only about gender, so that's also two topics. Yes, that's our long-term main goal.
And Rachel, we spoke before in the panel that the title of this panel already sparked a discussion on Twitter. You saw all the German tweets flying in. I don't know how good your German got over the past years, but why do you think that happened? Why did the community react to the title so heavily?
I think that, when you try and declare any direction for the future, people who have their own idea for the future can feel like their own idea is under attack. And I think that one of the cool things, even in our discussion before the panel, we really want to focus on ways that, we're making space for everyone in the future. So to declare that the future is female is to declare that the future is one of many things, and that we want to be making space for females going forward. And I think that that is something that can be done in a way that enhances the experience for everyone who participates in esports, that can really, enhance the experience for different demographics that want to get involved and can create a better place for everyone. So I would hope that this is less of a threatening thing and more of a positive thing, but that may require more discussion. It's just a title, it's just the cover of our book. Open it up and let's see what's inside.
I was about to say, so it is not our plan to replace every talent there is in the industry. Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I would want to add something to that.
Sure.
I didn't read the tweet comments. I was busy, and but I will check it out. But I can imagine how the comments were. So I think it's also maybe the title. I think maybe it triggers some people, some kind of maybe. I don't know, maybe they have some fear of female could take their territory, because in the past years there were not a lot of female in this esports scene or gaming scene, and it was always dominated by male people, and maybe some of them are still like afraid of the new thing, and yeah, it's just, I think it will just take some time, and in the end it should be just a big community, and it shouldn't matter if someone is female or male.
Mm-hmm. How has your platform grown over the past years?
More like over the past couple of months.
Okay, sorry. That's what I meant.
Yeah. We released the platform like in August, and I think we still have the beta sign. We discussed that lately in the team. We really should get rid of that beta, but it's still, yeah, we're still developing it. The most important thing, it's also an initiative. So it's also an initiative, and with the project, on the one side we have the platform, on the other side we are active, speaking to people. I'm here, for instance, which is great, and bring the topic to different people, and also bring the topic to schools. So we can talk about that later, of course, as well. So now we try to look into where to start, where can we promote female players, and you need to start very, very early. And for instance, we are developing, I'm always sorry, we are developing at the moment, it's taking place in Vienna, Esports School League. And we intentionally had a female quota there. So now we have 148 female players and 146 male players in that league, and we look at different aspects where we can bring the topic into. Yes.
Okay, Rachel, looking onto the professional esports scene, have you noticed any changes in, for example, female pro players or female talent?
Actually, I think it's interesting, I'm still musing on the title of the future is female, because when I think back to even, my participation in esports 12 years ago, I got involved because of two twin sisters in an all-female gaming clan. The future is female, but the past has been female, and currently it's pretty female too. If you go to esports events, you look at the fans in the crowd, you look at the people working behind the scenes, you look at people, working on the talent teams. We have tons of women involved in the space. I think the change we're finally seeing is actually in the skill of the gamers. It's been a bit easier to learn the skill of a host and go on stage, or commentating is really hard, but these are things that you can kind of learn in a short time, where the skills that make a good gamer take a lifetime. You addressed, that you need to get to these girls early if you want their skills to be on par with pro gamers today. We addressed it in our panel yesterday, but it's a numbers game of how many professional gamers are out there. There were, 20 years ago, way more dudes playing than there were young girls. And I remember growing up, I remember being 10 years old and having my girlfriends have their games taken away. And it's like, you're 11 now, you're too old for this, you're done gaming. And so that wiped out a ton of the potential pro females that you could see today. But now we're seeing young girls and young boys playing, I think, at the similar rates. And so as these populations grow, as the numbers narrow down from casual players to competitive players to professional players at the very top, we're going to see a bit more parity, in my opinion.
Okay, so do you think that it's only a matter of visibility as well? We've seen, as Rachel already stated, we already have those female characters in the scene, in the industry, if it's behind the scenes or in the organization. And do you think that they're just not visible enough?
I think they're starting to get more visible now, but maybe in the past not that much. But this is changing. You can see, women everywhere in every kind of organization. Or, for example, I'm working also for Freaks for You, and we are doing a lot of projects, gaming, esports projects. And we work with clients, for example, the Omen client, and there's a really strong women team doing preparing all the tournaments and organizing everything, and they're doing such a great job. And people start to see more how many women are actually in the background also working. Or, for example, another good example is Patricia. She's head of marketing from ESL, and she also she's doing a really great job. And people also get attention that there's cool, strong woman behind this whole scenes and organizing also, Counter-Strike events or doing the marketing for it, and it's working really well. So people get more attention to it. But due to the pro gamer stuff, what you said, I completely agree. I think it's really because in the past there were more guys starting to play professional or just to play than girls, and it was not that usual that girls played games in the past years. Well, in the past 20 years maybe. And now it really, I can see it also, for example, on Twitch. When you take a look on the community, there are also young girls and boys who are starting to play and to watch streams, and this will be more common in the future, and I think maybe in 10 years it will be pretty normal to see female and male in same teams.
Yes, I mean the tournaments, like all the big tournaments, are open for mixed teams. It's just that maybe that's also something that some female players don't know. Who knows? Because there's still the idea of the big tournaments being closed for male participants only, which is not right. But yes, Dona, yesterday the ESPD was host to a networking breakfast for women in esports. And they also founded a working group for women in esports, and you're part of it. Why do we need a working group?
Well, the idea of the ESPD to create this female working group is really important, and it's a great idea. And we had not that much time yesterday. We had a breakfast together and we talked and we shared our ideas and thoughts about the whole scene. But it's really important, I think, also for women to connect with each other and to work together and just to build a community. And it's not, it's also something we discussed yesterday. It's not about to do a female brand to say, hey, we're female, we're different or something. It's just about women working together and to integrate more women in this community, in this esports scene. And it's important also just, to support each other, I think. And that's a really good way to do it.
I mean, Rachel, yesterday we spoke about toxicity in the industry, and of course, anyone who presents their expertise to the public eye makes themselves vulnerable. That's just part of the process. And I think our male colleagues get enough comments and messages regarding their work as well. But how is it as a female presenter? Do you feel like having to go the extra mile to show that you really understand what you're talking about?
Absolutely. I'm actually one of those esports hosts that's in the rare position where I bounce between several games. I cover Counter-Strike, I cover Overwatch, Hearthstone, League of Legends, Puzzle and Dragons, Words with Friends. We've casted cars blowing up in the desert. You know, anything that kind of touches on gaming, I've been involved in. And every time I step foot in a new game community, I get the same suspicion of who is this girl? What does she want from me? Nothing. I get my paycheck from the producers, don't worry. I want nothing from you. Like, why is she here? I don't trust her. She definitely doesn't know this game. And I feel that, like, on some level, like, as long as you're willing to come and accept me, and a lot of people in a lot of communities are, there's a younger, more malleable audience in esports these days that's wonderful and that wants to be impressed, and it has room for that. And so I see a lot of that as my responsibility coming into this space and teaching the audience to open up, have an open mind, accept new people, because I'm also a representative of other people coming into the game space who maybe know nothing. And so those people who know nothing are watching to see how I'm treated when I enter that game space. If you want to sell more games, if you want to, have a bigger game community, you need to police that kind of conversation. You need to separate when it's valid and when it's not valid. And so I see toxicity largely as the responsibility of the brands who are running the events, the production companies that are running the events. A lot of that is preventable, and a lot of that is harnessable into positive energy if you can hit it at the right point.
Natalie, what is your point of view on that? How do you have to explain yourself?
Yeah, I want to add here, because I think I think what a lot of people, I'm so sorry. I think what a lot of people just don't get right. They say men are also having trouble. Not everyone is polite in gaming to men as well and stuff like that. And then, of course, you can tell a woman that she sucks at gaming. Of course, you can do that. But you just shouldn't tell her that she sucks at gaming because she's a woman, and that's the huge difference. So you really make that clear to people, and I think it's also very important to speak not only with professionals here, or not only with the people who are inside the e-sport community. It's important to make that point of view clear to everybody, to start with very young people as well, to bring that to society. And we often have to address that issue. And it's not about women are not capable of being gamers because they just want to be in a happy bubble or something like that. They just want to be taken serious. And that's the thing, basically, yes.
Yes. Dona, you play a lot of first-person shooters, and so do I. And how are you received as a female player? Because you have to, when you enter a solo queue match, I know you shouldn't do that, but like in general, not only if you're female, it's always a bit dangerous in there. Yes, but how are you received as a female player? Because you have to communicate at some point.
Well, I made different kind of experiences, and but the thing is, after a time, especially when you're streaming it and you communicate with a lot of people, you start to get like how to explain. There's like nothing what can really touch you, you know. It's like. Yeah. I don't know, I think if you're new to the scene and you're playing solo queue and someone says like,
don't say
hey
it.
bitch, you suck, just like an example, I think there would be a lot of maybe girls, hurt because of that, but I just can't laugh about it. But in the end, after the past years, it was actually kind of different. There were some guys who were pretty fast, sexistic or insulting, but you have also guys who are trolling, and you have also guys who wants to flirt with you. And for me, it's great because I always have great content when I play solo queue. It's like I love it actually because I don't care if they're toxic guys or they're guys who asked you to add them on Instagram like 10 times. It's just funny for me and for the community, but still you can see that there's kind of a toxicity, and especially I think what my worst experience was is when you just say something and they hear your female voice, they're like, oh no, we play with a girl, we will lose. And that's like, why? And I experienced this a lot, and I saw this also in other streams, or I talked with other girls, and it's similar. So there is some kind of rejection from the beginning, but not from all. So yeah.
But why is that? Why do female gamers get rejected at first? What could be the I know that's a very...
That's a lot
we
to
could
unpack.
The answer to life, that's kind of the same level. But, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, I think it's... you have to look at the origins of that, and I think that is very, very deep in the society, and about the question, what is female, what is male? And you just grow up thinking, believing that video games are just for boys. Maybe it's getting better a little bit these days because the young people are not that much influenced about that anymore. But it's much more likely that a boy gets a video game as a birthday present than a girl. And it's the same with technical toys, technical stuff and everything. They just don't assume that girls could be interested. And that's where it starts. And then it goes further and further and further. And in the end, also the gaming communities and something builds up, and then there is something alienating, how's it called? Girls in the video, especially in the online video games game community, they're just a little bit treated like aliens, and that's weird. And I don't know, yeah. So yeah, I think the origin really lies in the thinking what is female and what is male. Yeah.
Okay, that's a very interesting approach. Of course, I have like tons of questions towards this topic, but maybe we can open up the panel to our audience as well. And I think we have a microphone. Thank you so much. Our volunteers have been on fleek today. Big round of applause, please, to our volunteers that make all this so smooth. And yes, the first question.
I would like to add something. I'm running the German schoolmastership since 13 years. And last year, the first time we had a female winner under the winners. And I was really glad about that. And I had a long talk with her, all these things you mentioned already. And I said, what is if we start a German doesn't matter, could be elsewhere, mastership for female pupils, also school mastership. Yeah. And it was a very interesting thing with all the discussions afterwards, for I got many objections against it. For some of the of my discussions partners, female, said, no, this is just wrong. And I said, but if we do that, then you get another range of discussion. It would level up the female gamers. And some said, okay, it's exactly right. But many said, no, we would
hurt ourselves.
With themselves. But I still think it could be a good thing to level up the discussion and to help the female gamers.
Can I maybe, sorry.
Of course.
I maybe add something to that, because we also started the Esports School League, and we made the decision to implement that quota. So our rule is each team has to have 6 people, 6 students, and each team has to have at least 3 girls. And we just knew if we wouldn't do that, it's probably the same like in professional esport. And the beautiful thing to see was it wasn't a problem at all. The teams just found themselves. The teams just found most of the teams, I think, except 2, there's 3 girls, 3 boys, and it's fine. It was totally fine. And then when last week we had a newspaper article in a newspaper, online newspaper in Austria, where you have a forum, you can write a lot of things, the standard, the Austrians know that. And then they instantly discussed about the gender quota. So that was like, whoa, why do you do that? But we want to actively promote women, yeah.
Of course, that's sparking controversy. Controversy is a way of gaining visibility, obviously. And it is great to hear that this wasn't a problem at all. That's like the main goal we want to achieve, because, I mean, the girl gamers are there, the female players are there. They just need to be activated, kind of. But that was also one of my questions, actually. Female-only leagues are always a very discussed thing, and like being discussed, not the other word. And why is that? What are the pros, but what are also the cons of female leagues, female-only leagues?
If I may, yeah. Sure. Because it shows just a separation, and people take it as normal that there is a need of an equal or separated league. So, but why? You know, that's the thing, and they just accept it. And it's also, especially, I think it depends also on the game, because for example, what I just have seen, there's a kind of Twitch Cup, Streamer Cup, it's Twitch Rivals, maybe you hear of it. And for example, now it's Apex, the next thing, and there are a lot of mixed people, mixed teams with female and male streamers, but I'm sure if you would do that with Counter-Strike, for example, they would be separated teams or just male teams. And I think this is really also, it depends on the game. But just to take Counter-Strike as an example, it's just like, it's so normal as female and male accepted that it needs to be separated, but there is no need actually. And maybe this female-only league are just, working negatively for that.
That's also something we don't want to achieve. We don't want to put females on pedestals.
No, we talked about this a little bit with Gaguri, who is a female player who is one of 6 players on Shanghai Dragons, an Overwatch team. And once she joined the team, once the team started playing, of course, there was no issue. It's kind of amazing. And what she wanted, she was celebrated, you know, when it was announced that she was going to join the team. And so many articles came out, and they're like, this is a great day for women. And Gaguri herself came out, and she said, I don't really want to be on a pedestal. I don't want to have any special criteria that I have to meet beyond just being a player on my team. And that is, I think, what a lot of us, you know, that is what we want for female players. We don't want them to have to be anything other than good at the game. They don't need to be beautiful. They don't need to, you know, have an Instagram. They don't need to do anything else. But the problem is, you open up your microphone and you speak and you have a girl voice, and all of a sudden all these other expectations come out of nowhere at you. And that is one of those things that can turn off a lot of female players. That is why we're not seeing so many at the top, because of all the extra work they have to do just to maintain the same space as some of the male gamers they play with. Now, we're learning, I think, as a world, as we move forward, that there are many different ways to be a guy, many different ways to be a girl, and that's, I think, creating a lot of space in the esports industry, because I think that we're one of the most globally connected industries. We're one of the most aware and communicative industries, and I think that this is a place where esports can really lead the rest of the entertainment consumer, you know, market to show that we can market to everybody. We can make a space that everyone's welcome, and look how profitable it is, and look how wonderful and marketable this community is.
All right, I hope that answers your question, kind of, at least a little bit. But I also spoke to Amulet from Dignitas back in Katowice about female-only leagues, and she said that female-only leagues can be very important as well.
I also spoke with women who are playing in female-only leagues, and they're very enthusiastic and say they really, really want that. And so I think a female-only league at the point where we are now can be a good gateway to bring women into esports. And they feel they don't have to deal with all the toxicity there inside the tournaments, inside the leagues. They feel maybe more welcomed. So that could be a point, but that should also not. It shouldn't be that way. So they should feel welcome in the general, in the normal esport as well. So Jana Möglich yesterday, maybe she's here, she pointed that out really good as well at the esport breakfast. That shouldn't be necessary that women feel more safe in the female-only league tournaments. So. But they're there, they raise awareness, there can be a starting point for discussions, they can be a gateway into esport, but the long-term goal should be everybody is welcome in esports and should feel welcome. Everybody is already welcome. Female players can already sign up for tournaments, but they maybe don't feel very welcome and safe there, and that's what we want to achieve.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on to that, we have regional tournaments to activate participation in certain regions. We have high school tournaments and middle school tournaments to activate those particular populations and get them more involved. And so I think that having female-only tournaments is just a way to build up participation in that space until we reach parity, until we can have tournaments that don't separate anyone.
So I think we have another question here from our volunteer is running. He's so fast. Okay.
Hi.
Oh, Max, hi.
Yes, hello, Melek. Yeah, it's not like a question, more like a hats off to you guys. Because I think one of the main problems we have to tackle is the hypocrisy that Rachel just started talking about. Like I would take myself as an example. Rachel, when you go on stage, people be like, oh, that's a woman, she doesn't know anything about games, how dare she host this? I hosted the ESL last weekend, and on the League of Legends day, I was so happy I had experts with me because I don't know shit about League of Legends. Like, I'm level 9, people saw me play in the show match, and they were like, why would he host this? But I had analysts that do the job for me, and I think no one better than I, like, no one was like, yeah, but he can't host because he doesn't know League of Legends, or he's not a, whatever the highest rank in CSGO is. Like, I'm shit at that too, so. But if you're a woman, you get all that. Like, they put so much weight on that instead of just accepting you, in your case, as a host. And so, yeah, that's not really a question, just a heads up to you.
Thank you.
Especially like every girl, like Dona doesn't give a shit about toxicity. She just like, you put it into comedy actually, like you turn it around, that's great too. So heads up to every girl, every woman doing that, to every girl who plays healer if she wants to and picks a damage dealer role if she likes it and doesn't get pressured into that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
the girls you see sticking around in esports over the years, they've seen some shit.
Thank you. I mean, we're just trying our best. We just want to watch games. We want to have a good evening and a good day and maybe a good event with people that enjoy the same thing as we enjoy. And we just want to share our passion, and thank you so much. And I think we're just going to continue what we do, right? I mean, who's going to stop us, right? So thank you so much, Max. And maybe we do you want to add on something to that? It seemed like, sorry.
Oh.
No?
No.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have another question from our audience? No? Should I continue? I can continue. That's not a problem. So we pointed out a few flaws in the system. Also, like the thing that Max stated right now, like as a male host, no one cares kind of if you know the game that you're talking about because you get like the benefit of the doubt. So he certainly knows what he does, but because he's on a stage and he's holding a microphone, so he probably knows, but we kind of don't get the benefit of the doubt. What could be the fix to the situation? Like, how could we fix this?
We have to teach our audience to respect each other when we appear on stage together. I've worked on several different broadcasts, and the most successful broadcasts are the ones where all the talent work together to put on a good show, and they support each other. If any of you have done improv, you're probably familiar with the yes and, yes, I agree with you, and furthermore, let me build on that great topic that you just brought up. And you make each other look wonderful and smart. And when you're watching, when I throw to a shoutcaster and I make an observation and I say, wow, that play was really special because this happened, and he goes, yes, Rachel, great observation, the whole audience sees this dude that they really respect confer respect to me, and he's teaching them that, look, she does know, she does work. So part of it is the allies that we have in the spaces that we inhabit. It's very important, and thank you for shouting it out, because the allyship here, it's a dude-dominated space currently, and it's on a lot of the dudes there to help us out, I think. But if they don't want to do that, it's also on us to help each other. One of my biggest missions over the past decade in this space is to get more women involved, and that means when I meet women, I show them that I'm so glad you're here, I respect everything that it took for you to get here and stay here, and I want to be your sister and help you. And so I think that, as the scene sees more women, respecting each other and being respected by their coworkers, we are going to teach the people that watch and enjoy our content how to be better. And yeah, that's something that we can give the world too as talent up here.
All right. Dona, you want to add? Yeah, that definitely deserves a round of applause.
Just a short thing. First of all, I agree completely with you, and I also think that the most important thing is to support each other, and we just need more women, actually. And after time, people get used to it. For example, I remember I asked you, what was your first experience in the German scene when you hosted or casted? And you were like, yeah, they completely were toxic. Because when I host, it was like my first host job in the German community scene. It was IEM major. And yeah, there's a German
Platform?
Yeah, platform. So we did also own, we have our casters and on analyzers desk, and I was the host for it. And I prepared everything. I watched every game, and of course I understand the game, and my questions were like, yeah, completely right. And but there were still people saying, "Oh my God, she has no clue. She doesn't know anything about CS." And or why is she asking all the time? She has no clue. But you know, it was my job. But
so how dare you to ask questions?
Yeah, why are you asking, Melek? You have no clue.
No, okay.
But in the end, it just showed that it doesn't matter if you're doing your job good or not. It's just this, I think, this fear of the new thing. And it's like, for me, it's just like 12 years old boys, oh my God, it's a girl, I don't like her, you know? That's how I see them. And I think
it's something different.
Yeah, it's just like, I think this will change after a time, but we really need more women to do these things and to be, yeah, just to step in these jobs and in these positions and to do it. And even if the community is toxic, you just need to, yeah, to go on and not to let you down from the stuff. So, and after a time, if they see more and more, they will get used to it. And I think it will be no matter anymore.
And also, it's like a phenomenon. All the negative comments are so much more prominent within this space. So we always talk about all the negativity that comes towards us, but that's not like the maintainer of the community, because if something goes smooth and if someone is happy with someone's performance, they just lay back and enjoy what's going on, and they only chime in when there's something that's not according to plan, and when something is different or negative in their opinion. So it is also that the negative voices aren't that much, but they're always louder than the positive ones. That's something you have to keep in mind as well if you think about entering the space. Like, you have 120,000 people watching on a live stream, and then you do then the host comes up. If it's a female or a male host, doesn't matter. Then all the trolls and all the darkest pits of the internet open. All the people chime in and tell you what they don't like about the performance. And there's most of the time there's only like a small percentage of the viewership.
Yeah,
you know, you have to
course.
keep that in mind. And like, if it's, let it be 50, let it be 100, but the rest of the 120,000 people still enjoy what you do. And that's also something that we have to keep in mind.
Yeah, you're completely right, and that's really, we just need to show it that it's, like you're saying, it's a small percentage, but even, of course, they're allowed, and maybe people get hurt if they see this, but they shouldn't. So they should just like continue and do whatever they want and don't listen to them, and I think the voices will be quieter after a time. Yeah, but it's really necessary that there will be also some women to do this kind of things, even if there's hate, because it will be easier for the next generations.
It seemed like you wanted to say something to that.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
No, just for the lack of women, and because I think we really need to start addressing women, and not just we. I think everybody here is probably aware of the lack of women in esport, but that's probably not enough. We need to address that issue. We need to be sensible on all levels, from management, moderation, everything. And I think a lot, you can do little things, like when you doing a presentation on a stage about esports and you use stock images. Why don't you choose something with a woman in it? Or when you speak about an esport player, maybe you name a woman, and you don't have to point out and say, whoa, 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 there's a woman who plays. It's just make it normal. And I think those are the little steps that really, really can help. And over time, hopefully, we really get more women when everybody, and also in the federations, for instance, we need more women there. We need more women also in very important positions. We are very lucky with Yvonne here. she is in the Austrian E-Sport Federation, and she's also having the official title as a gender commissioner. But we basically need that in every federation. We need women to represent their needs, to be voices and to be visible for most important thing. Yeah.
Do you guys think that women in esports get like victimized? That, for example, I was invited to a German TV show 2 weeks ago, and I got the question, while the male players were playing in the Spock arena, the females had their final on the side stage. And I was like, this side stage was still the stage where like the best of the scene competed like 3 days ago. That's a great stage. Yeah, even had like turning dishes where the computers turn around and everything. They brought up the full production value for the tournament. It was a great tournament. It was a great show with an all-female analyst desk, by the way, and one of the world's best casters casting the tournament. And but still, it was displayed as, well, the guys were allowed to play on the big stage and the girls had like this tiny stage next doors. Why is that? Why does the media do that?
The media just loves a negative story, and it's spicier, it's more clicks, it's a better headline, but we have seen time and again that especially media outside of gaming does not do a good job of accurately representing what is actually going on in our communities.
I mean, instead of saying like they were playing on the world's biggest esports festival, finally the girls are allowed to hold their tournaments in an according frame. But Dona, you were about to add something to that.
I think it's just like this media thing. They try to look to make it more dramatic, you know, because if they would say it like you're saying, they are allowed to now they're allowed to play there in the stadium and stuff. It wouldn't be that interesting, but if they do this drama, like this is the sad story of the female scene, it's more catchy, and it's also what you said. It's in general media, for example, especially Counter-Strike. I don't want to know how often media says that Counter-Strike is a killing
don't get that started,
game,
please.
And it's just like, okay, they don't understand it. So I think this also will change maybe in the future when this whole esports scene will be more mainstream. And till that happen, it will take some time. But then I think they will have also more another opinion about the female scene, because it's pretty kind of new to them.
Yeah. And that's probably why clickbait works so well. And yes, do we have one final question from the audience? Because I already got, I know, but this is important. No questions so far? Perfect. You guys will be sticking around for a bit, so if you want to approach one of the panelists during the event, they don't mind. They're nice people. So go ahead and ask your questions if you don't want to ask them in this frame. But thank you so much. And guys, big round of applause to our awesome females in the esports community, Dona, Rachel, and Natalie. And yes, that was our panel. Thank you so much.